According to Alzheimer's Disease International, the total number of people living with dementia globally is expected to reach 139 million by 2050, which is up from around 55 million in 2020, which I imagine is in part related to people living a bit longer than
Yeah,
they once
yeah,
did as
could
well.
be. Although over the past few years, life expectancy actually turned down for the first time in the history of modern world. So who knows if it will continue to go up? But yeah, it could be people are living longer. I mean, one of the effects of modern medicine is that people live longer with disease, Alzheimer's included. But it's absolutely a consequence further of our overall metabolic milieu that we put ourselves in a position where we're making our brains insulin resistant, and thus they're going hungrier and hungrier.
There's a study you talk about, which you've cited before, that shows that if you move visceral fat from an obese animal to a lean animal, this immediately caused insulin resistance.
Yeah, in the animal that received it.
Okay.
Yeah, so just to be clear, if we took what they did in this study just to reflect why or the different depots of fat are harmful. And so the human body has two distinct fat depots, and you and I described them: subcutaneous, which is the fat beneath the skin, or visceral, which is the fat tucked within the organs of the abdominal space. And if you move subcutaneous fat,
Which is like the belly fat.
the belly fat, and from one animal to another, you couldn't do this in humans. If you move belly fat, if you will, or subcutaneous fat from one animal to the other, the animal's very healthy. It's no problem. Subcutaneous fat is inert. It really is just sort of hanging out there and minding its own business. But in that same study, if you move the visceral adipose over, now all of a sudden that animal that got that extra dose of visceral fat is going to become sicker. It's going to become more insulin resistant and diabetic because you've increased its visceral fat, the amount of fat that it has in that space. The body wants to limit the amount of fat that it has there because if the fat grows too much, you can physically start compressing and squishing organs that you need to be functioning, like the kidneys and the intestines.
Have you seen Brian Johnson?
I have. I don't know him personally, but
You've seen the documentaries and stuff made about
yeah.
him and the work that he's doing. What do you make of what he's doing to extend his age? Because, one of the subjects I think is linked to this is the idea of longevity
Yeah.
in aging. And he's become a bit of a poster child for the subject of longevity.